Good morning, and thank you for coming. My name is Taina Bien-Aimé, and I am the Executive Director of Equality Now. 15 years ago, 189 governments from around the world convened at the United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing, where they adopted the Beijing Declaration and the Platform for Action, and reaffirmed their fundamental commitment to the equal rights and inherent human dignity of women and men. One of the pledges expressly made in the Beijing Platform for Action, among others, was to, and I quote, revoke any remaining laws that discriminate on the basis of sex. In 2000, at the special session of the General Assembly conducting a Beijing +5 review, governments reaffirmed this commitment to revoke discriminatory laws, and they agreed to do so, and I quote again, as soon as possible, preferably by 2005. This target date is now well behind us, and yet discriminatory laws remain in force in too many countries around the world. Equality Now has been examining discriminatory laws around the world for over a decade and has issued the latest of its 3 reports, Words and Deeds, holding governments accountable in the Beijing +15 review process, which highlights such laws in 36 countries from all geographic regions with regard to marital, economic, personal status, and violence against women. Equality Now's Beijing +15 campaign also highlights positive reforms, including a count that more than half of the 52 laws highlighted in our Beijing +5 and Beijing +10 reports have been repealed and amended. Despite these few successes, however, too many discriminatory laws still exist, and disturbingly, new ones are enacted, such as Afghanistan's 2009 Shia personal status law that declares the man head of household and curtails a woman's freedom of movement, among other restrictions. Why focus on laws? Law is the most formal expression of public policy. A government that allows discriminatory laws to remain in force endorses and actively perpetuates gender-based inequality, which in turn leads to violence against women. When women are unequal under the law, they have no formal recourse when they face discrimination or violence. In Singapore, for example, the law allows a man to rape his wife if she is 13 years of age or older. In Iraq, the law requires a woman to get the approval of her male guardian or husband to obtain a passport. In Israel, the law prohibits a woman from getting a divorce unless her husband provides her with a get. And in Saudi Arabia, women are still prohibited from driving. These are just a few examples. The extent of violence and discrimination against women and girls condoned by governments around the world is staggering and unacceptable. Equality Now marks the 15th anniversary of Beijing with profound concern over the blatant failure of governments to honor the commitments they have made. The repeal of laws that discriminate against women has no financial cost to governments. It is only a question of political will. Since 2006, the United Nations published 2 studies and 1 report recommending the urgent steps to be taken to abolish all sex discriminatory laws. They concluded that a dedicated mechanism within the UN system to address discriminatory laws would provide the urgent impetus needed to effect real change in this area. Equality Now calls for governments to establish, as soon as possible within the UN Human Rights Council, a special mechanism for gender equality before the law in its next session to be held in September 2010. Women and girls can no longer wait for basic and fundamental equality under the law and in practice.